joining the podcast here. I really appreciate you having time, because you're not a person with a lot of time, I've noticed.
You're so nice. Thank you so much for having me, honestly.
You're a very busy person. I kind of like low key stock people that I like as far as like music culture stuff. So I'm always kind of trying to pay attention to you, and you do these spurts of activity and silence, which I know means that you're extra busy in the real world, and that's how come you can't get to the social media world. So I just wanted to talk to you about that kind of stuff, because I really, when I started Small Time Songwriter, which again I always say is kind of a moniker that I like to wear proudly, which is like, we're not Taylor Swift, we're just kind of making our way through it like everybody else. And one of the things that I'm always curious about is how people do their artist life, work life balance. Lately, I've been really pondering that, because as I get more busy, I get less focused at home, and I need to kind of figure out the balance between the home life and the work life. So how do you do it, and what's your process?
Oh, I totally get it. So I'm a mother of two younger kids who are now 7 and 9. So it's been interesting because I work part-time at Swallow Hill, so I'm a music teacher, and being a mother as well, and being in a band, and having other hobbies as well, which I think we're going to talk about. It's like it's very hard to find time for songwriting, but I think it's all about, just for me, finding those little pockets of time and using them, and don't let 15 minutes go by, or don't let a song idea go by. I try to sing it into my phone and capture it, so then when I do have 20 minutes instead of no time, I can come back to the creative flow faster.
Okay, so you're one of those artist people that walk around with their voice memo always out, huh?
Heck yeah. Yeah.
That's great. I would love for you to tell my very, 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 very tiny audience who you are, and how you came about to live in this kind of artist life.
Oh, that's so sweet. And again, thank you so much for having me. I love being here. I've always wanted to be on a podcast, and this is my first time being
Oh,
asked.
great. Awesome. Okay. Well, you're going to get a lot of
bucket list achieved.
Cool.
So my story is that, I grew up in a very musical family, had a lot of instruments around the house. I was one of those kids who maybe wasn't the most talented at music though, but I got the lessons,
right,
and I sort of had the grit, I had the passion, and I always wanted to be able to sing like Ariel in that scene when she's giving her voice to Ursula. I thought, when can I grow up and sing like that?
That's
and
awesome.
Now I can. Yeah, it's exciting. I ended up in college, right out of high school, I studied English. I got a degree in English, and I'm also a fiction writer, but basically with that degree, I was just scared that studying music would ruin the passion for me, but I still was doing my singer-songwriter thing all around Ann Arbor, and still growing my music knowledge. But It wasn't until I got into the workforce, and I was working for a while in daycare, and I started sort of developing my own music program for daycares and starting my own business, but really it wasn't quite what I wanted to be doing. So I got to go back to school for music education.
Wow.
Which was such a great experience. And I know it's why would you go back for another undergrad degree? But I really didn't want to teach English. I wanted to teach music, and it was more of a passion for me. And I ended up completing that degree, and then having my first daughter, and getting to work part-time, which has been fantastic. So
yeah,
I think that's kind of me in a nutshell. But I've been a singer-songwriter, and in my band, the Deborah Solo Trio, that's been going for about 9 years now.
Which is a great accidentally hilarious name, Solo Trio.
I know. we gotta clarify that. People ask me a lot. They're like, "What is a solo trio?"
Yeah.
So my name
is Solo a last name, or is it like a stage name kind of thing?
Yeah, it was my last name before I got married. So
okay.
Deborah Solo. It's my family name.
You're the first solo I've ever met. Are you Italian or something? Or
no, that's a good question. Solo comes from my paternal grandfather, which was his last name was Soloveichik before. His last name, I'm sorry, was Solo, but his father was Soloveichik before coming to America, and that's a Ashkenazi Jewish last name, Russian Jewish last name, and so it got shortened to Solo. A lot of people ask me if it's Portuguese. I think it might be a Portuguese last name,
Yeah,
which
I have a like I understand that because I remember that was kind of the story with Corsetti. Corsetti was Corsi by the time I got to America. They just shortened it.
right,
Corsetti was weird, um, but
totally.
but yeah, that's really interesting. So I have a question for you because I'm an instructor. I'm a former instructor for
Right.
songwriters and performing songwriter things, stage presence and lyric writing, things like that.
Hmm.
And what I find whenever I meet another teacher is one thing. Well, first of all, I realize that I'm not much of a teacher because
Oh, I don't know about
because I meet teachers and you guys are glowing with this like want of educating the world and being showing them the spirit and the magic of music and all that. And I'm kind of like it's fun for a couple of hours, but then I got to go home. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get that. I get
Um,
that.
but my question is, do you ever find it kind of gets in the way of your artistry sometimes? Like you're an English teacher, you're an English major, you're a songwriter. I think you teach songwriting at Swallow Hill, right?
Yeah, I do some songwriting. I'm mainly at Swallow Hill, so so
Yeah,
I'll
yeah. Let's
take a
talk
little
about Swallow
aside to
Hill.
just like
Yeah,
describe what Swallow Hill is. So it's a nonprofit music school here in Denver, and they're a folk school. So really, it's an ideal situation because they just want to get music to like accessible music for everybody. So
right,
I get to kind of show up and just say, like, well, I'm a great teacher for someone who wants to learn rhythm guitar. Like, I'm
right,
not much of a soloist.
right.
So I say, if you want to be able to sing and play rhythm guitar and lead your friends around the campfire, I'm your teacher. And then
Nice.
every teacher has like things they specialize in.
Sure.
So I get to kind of like teach exactly what people seek me out because they see my bio and they're like,
Yeah,
okay, she seems friendly, she seems
yeah.
positive. And
I
then the
would say
people,
those are very accurate terms for you.
thank
I've
you,
never
thank you so
known you
much.
to not be friendly or positive.
Well, I think sometimes like if someone wants a more like serious teacher about like getting technically better, they're going to go for someone who has more of a technical background, which is funny because I mean I do have a technical background,
Right,
especially in voice,
right.
but I'm more about like helping the student find their goal and figuring out how we can do that for each student. And,
Yeah,
and I think that's what really gets me feeling passionate about teaching. So
yeah.
because I'm at a place where I get to kind of like do my own curriculum
Right.
and I get to cater it to
Beautiful.
each individual private student. And usually I can help them with a lot of stuff. And if I feel like I can't, like if they want to learn something I'm really not the best teacher for, I have a whole staff of people to refer them to who I trust.
Right,
So
right.
it's pretty ideal teaching situations. Maybe
Yeah,
that's why I don't get burnt out at the end of the
yeah,
day.
yeah. You
Plus
just have
everybody I teach is really lovely. And
I
then,
love that you just are really passionate and you're able to just pursue the parts that make you happy about the
yeah,
experience. You know, I think
that's
that's
the
really cool.
key.
I tried teaching for a little while with songwriting and lyric writing, and I just hated the constant critique and feedback and grading and stuff because I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just barely getting out there. What am I doing? Telling other people that they need to fix their songs. You know, it's
Oh, geez, no, that's especially a hard subject because songwriting is so personal. I know
right.
we're going to get into craft as well,
Yeah.
but like when I help people with songs, I'm usually like that is more stressful because you don't want to say something that's going to
Yeah.
make them ever close off or
Yeah,
feel
we're so
like
fragile when we're writing.
discouraged.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more about it's honestly more about encouraging them in the process than like fixing their song, you know what I mean, for
Right,
me. So,
right.
but that
Yeah.
does get I would not want to have to grade somebody on that. Like, we're
Yeah,
not, no
it's tough.
grades.
When I went to performance school, you know, there was a really it was a really tough go because you would perform and then the professor would walk up to you and just shred you, and he would just tell you like all the things that you need to do different and make eye contact and move your body and blah blah blah, and you're just kind of like trying to take in all the information, and you
Oh
almost
no.
run into this feeling of like, am I going to crumble today or is this going to be when I figure it out? You know.
Oh no.
And I've always been curious about you because you seem like such a very like bright light kind of person that I just feel kind of like you. I wonder what your class is like. It's got to be fun. It's got to be so
Oh,
like
that's
freaking
the
fun.
word. I try to make it fun. Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you, by the way. Like, I feel like because I am at a school where we get to cater, like, because I get to cater my goals during
Uh-huh.
each lesson to what the student is trying to do, then there's no like benchmarks. There's no like, we got to study for this test or
Oh,
we,
I
I've
see.
got
I
it.
see.
So it's like, it So
So
my goal is basically like they should be having fun. Like if they leave the
right.
lesson and I can tell they didn't have fun, I feel really bad because like we
Do
we
you,
have the
so
flexibility.
so
So
Does Swallow Hill have like graduates, or is it just kind of like an indie school where it just kind of keeps going as long as
yeah, it's usually
classes?
like a continue ed sort of situation
Okay.
where
Okay.
there is like programs like if you're coming to learn like core guitar, which I don't teach right now. Actually, I
Right.
teach during the day when my kids are at school at this
Sure.
time.
Yeah.
But I've been here for 9 years, and
Wow.
I know since my daughter was
That's how
like
you know
just
you love it.
six
If you're
months
there for
old.
longer than a couple of
Yeah,
years, you
yeah.
love it.
Well, it's really been able to kind of grow with me because like when my daughter was a baby, I could leave and just go teach one evening a week, and then that could be like I my husband could come home early that night, and I could leave and beat traffic, and then he could have his night just with the baby, and that worked until my kids became school aged,
Yeah.
and then it was too hard to work in the evening, but it was like, oh, no problem, you can just work in the day, and it was like,
Right.
okay, great.
So
So it has been good.
yeah, so that kind of throws me in a direction because what I try to dispel is a lot of like myths in our like little micro industry, right? I think that our industry can be very cutthroat, but also it can also just really feed into this cycle of like hustle, 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 and you're not going to make it unless you
Mhm.
hustle, hustle, hustle. But what I try to dispel with that is that a lot of us are just we got the side job, we got the music job, we got the guitar shop job. Some of us
Right.
got like stocks and trade, whatever can sort of balance out so that we can focus on the art. And I always think that that's like the most important message. So, do you feel that that's kind of true? That it's the way the industry is set up. It's like important for you to have something that you can like lean on while you're trying to do the artistry.
Oh yeah. I mean, you bring up a really good point because it's like at the end of the day, like if I could choose, like if I had the choice to just spend 40 hours a week creating music and
Right.
fiction, I would totally do that. But
Right. Yeah, we all would. Yeah.
maybe it's a bit of a blessing though that we have to have these side projects
Uh-huh.
or side hustles or teaching job
Yeah.
so that we don't get stale, we don't get stagnant.
Yeah.
Art sort of exists in conversation all the time with bandmates and critique partners
Yeah. I
and
like that.
other people. I know you're really good at seeking out like a songwriting culture, like you've said in
Right.
the
Yeah.
past. So I think like I think it really is a blessing that I am coming here and teaching because a lot of the
Yeah.
stuff I tell my students is really good stuff for me to hear too. Like when I tell them like, man, that thing that you're telling me you're insecure about really doesn't matter when you're on stage. Your audience doesn't
Right.
care about that.
Yeah.
They really just care about you being vulnerable and being honest with them. They don't
Right.
care if you can like play some amazing riff in the middle of your song and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, that was good for me to hear as
Yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah,
So
exactly. That's great. That's great. You're like the perfect teacher.
yeah.
You're like the teacher student
Oh,
combo
thank you.
sensei kind of thing. Um, the
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, I think that's a great attitude. I tell other like when I do my seminars, I always tell the performing songwriters too. I say, if people want to hear how you sound perfect, they'll just listen to your record. They want to
Yeah. Oh,
when they
yeah.
see you at a show, they want to see your humanity. So give them some humanity. It's
Oh,
okay.
I say the same thing all the time. Or we could just do AI robot voice,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
they want to hear the humanness of your voice
Yeah,
and
exactly.
your presence. You're
Well,
exactly right.
so okay, so I think we're spending a little too much time on Swallow Hill because I really want to get to know you.
Oh,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so what is your process when you are in artist mode? When you're writing your songs, what is the process of Deborah Solo?
Lately, I've been writing everything collaboratively with my
Oh, that's
bandmates.
interesting. That's interesting.
Yes, so I'm in a trio, and there's two other members. One is Carrie Clifton, and she is a cellist extraordinaire, just incredible cello player. And I've been working with her for about 9 years. About when my daughter was born, I said, okay, like I it's now or never. Usually that's when people are like, okay, let me take a break from what I'm doing.
Right.
But I'd been a solo singer songwriter for so many years, and I thought this is getting a little stale for me. I'm to the point where I've done what I can do with being a soloist,
Ooh,
and
I
now I
like
have
that.
this
Okay.
baby, and I don't have any time for myself. But if I'm going to keep going, I need to find someone to do this with. So
Oh, wow, that's a beautiful.
yeah,
That's an interesting attitude. That's
I know, right?
expand,
Well,
expand.
I think my husband and I have always done a really good job supporting each other to have something outside of just parenthood and work life. So for him, it's tennis, and he's got tennis once a week year round. And I'm like, get out the door, go do tennis, enjoy yourself, no
Right.
hurry to get home, so that I don't feel guilty when I want to go see my band once a week or
Yeah,
go
yeah,
have a
yeah.
show. So
Right.
we're really good at supporting each other to still prioritize being an individual, and I think that's helped me as an artist more than anything. So I
Wow.
met I met Carrie at Metro State, where I got my music ed degree. I didn't know her that well, but I knew she was really good at cello, and it had always been my dream to play with a cellist. I just knew it was going to be like just magic if I could make it happen. So we'd already graduated, and I messaged her and was like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but
That's good.
I was like, I'm a, singer songwriter. Here's some of my stuff, and pre Spotify, you can just like, here's a link.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if this is the kind of thing you'd like to do, but I'd love to get together. And she happened to say, like, this is exactly the kind of thing I'm interested in doing. Let's get together. And I was so happy with the work we did together. She's just absolutely brilliant. She just is really an intuitive player.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was lucky that worked out, and just so lucky that she stayed in Denver, and we've been able to like be in this band. And we had a drummer for a while, Brian Nelson, who's also a singer, a great guy who kind of got us started with the Deborah solo trio. Then he moved away, and we kind of said to each other like, oh no, now we're a duo, now we're a Deborah solo trio duo, what do we do? And we were so fortunate to get a referral for another guy. He goes by Chadzilla Johnson.
Chadzilla, nice.
Chadzilla. I know sometimes when I say like, oh, Chadzilla this, Chadzilla that, someone's like, what's his name? What? That's an interesting name. Like they think I'm saying like Chadzilla.
Chadzilla.
No, it's
Yeah.
like, So anyway, he is also a teacher here at Swallow Hill, but I didn't know him because I was working at the satellite location. And our previous audio engineer, Brian Hunter, said, well, if you're looking for someone who can do everything, maybe you should just reach out to Chad.
Yeah.
So we reached out to him as kind of like a one-shot thing. It was like, well, we don't have any other ideas of drummers who can be in a folk trio, who can sing, and like, oh, let's just try this. And like we got together with Chadzilla, and we were like, oh wait, like he left the room for a second, and she and I were like, this is going really well. like, am I crazy? This is going really well.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're really lucky to meet him. And let's see, that was about 5 years ago, and maybe 6 years ago. And we just got more than we bargained for, adding him to the trio in such a good way, because he's not only a drummer and a singer who's fantastic with harmonies and coming up with them. He's also a really talented bassist and guitarist and audio engineer.
Wow.
He owns his own recording studio.
That's awesome.
25 BPM studio. So we basically
that's
hit
pretty
the
good
jackpot.
hookup. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
hookup.
yeah.
So actually, when we play out now, this is pretty unique, but I'll sing and play guitar. Carrie will play cello and sing, and Chad will play a small drum set with his feet and one hand, and with the other hand, he will play the bass part on keyboard.
Right.
And at the same time, he's singing. So sometimes, like, Carrie and I are not doing anything, and he's doing everything. And then we just like come in for our part.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. He used to actually play fretless bass while he played too, but I think it's just a bit cumbersome, so the keyboard's easier. Sometimes he'll just play fills on the keyboard and play drums with his feet. So it's pretty fun.
It sounds like you really lean into composition as a songwriter. Because you know how there's like how there's like two different kinds of like songwriters. There's the ones that like want to focus a lot on the lyrical content or focus on like every word and syllable, and then there's other ones that focus on the composition. And it's like, we need keys, we need cello, we need and I wonder what kind you are. But before you answer, speaking of audio engineering, it sounds like one of your pins on your microphone cable got a little loose. So if you want to just plug that in, getting a little buzz.
Oh no.
There you go.
How's that? Any
Perfect.
better?
Yep.
Okay, let
Perfect.
me know if it happens again.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah. I think it
you.
was just like from the happiness we just bumped into the mic.
Yeah, I probably just boom,
Yeah,
boom.
yeah. But anyway, go on. It's great. It's
Yeah,
great.
I get pretty jazzed up.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to
I
get
was
jazzed up.
I was gonna say I got a little distracted. I was gonna talk about writing together, and I just talked about who they are.
Well, you're
But
excited to talk about your bandmates. That's
oh
good.
yeah, they're incredible. I think what it comes down to is that they've kept me inspired to keep writing, and I am the kind of singer songwriter who sometimes like just writes from this really raw place of what feels right and getting the words right. I'm all about the melody and the lyrics. So
Right.
I'm lucky that I'm balanced out by other musicians who are more focused on the composition and the
Arrangement, right?
other elements. So I can just look at them and be like, what do we do now?
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, and
Cool.
oftentimes we'll come in and we'll have an idea for a song and we'll
Uh,
just talk about the emotion for like a
Hmm.
whole session.
Yeah.
I'll just be like basically interviewing them. Like I'll say, this is how I feel. This is a little melody I have. And they're like, oh, yes, that reminds me of this thing in my life. And we end
Right.
up talking and I write down everything they say and everything I'm thinking and
Sure.
feeling. And then I go home and it's sort of one of my jobs to just arrange our ideas
Yeah.
into like the skeleton of the piece. But then when
Sure.
I come back, it just grows from there.
That's
And
cool.
I'll even like literally leave the room when it's time to write the bridge section,
Oh,
especially.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. If I say like we need a third part to this song, we need a bridge section, I'll be like, okay, guys, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. You
Yeah,
guys
because you
figure
don't
it
want to
out.
get in the way of the thing, right? That's cool. It seems like you just created like a super team where everyone kind of knows what their role is and where it needs to land.
Oh
Your process
yeah.
sounds a lot like some of the stuff that I preach, which is I talk about. The way I studied was to learn about prosody as a concept, which is just unity, like everything working in service of the song. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the thought processes of prosody is to before you write your song, if you feel like you're a little stuck or whatever, is to write a theme. So you just write like an emotional content. You just write
Mm-hmm.
about feelings, and then you kind of try to bring those feelings into the composition, and then you try to bring the composition into the lyrics, that kind of thing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. It
Yeah.
very much has to grow from something deep inside you, I think. Otherwise,
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. I think
yeah,
it's really cool. My listeners probably have not heard of Deborah Solo's music yet, so
probably not.
I'm curious how you would describe it. Sometimes I'm wondering about what is a fan supposed to expect, a new fan or a new listener? They
Oh,
go to
that's
your
a really
show,
good
they listen to
question.
your music. What do they feel? What do they hear in your words? What is the message that you're trying to give to the world?
Oh, that's really nice. I think we really are an indie folk band at heart, but we have a lot of pop uh like sense too. Like I think like for example, some of our favorite songs to cover are Radiohead songs,
Oh,
but if you
cool.
can imagine it with like
That's
cello
awesome.
instead of electric guitar,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's
My
awesome.
bandmates love Radiohead and I love being able to sing it because
Yeah,
he's a male singer and I can really like get away with like belting that
yeah,
stuff really
yeah.
easily in my register. So um I think we also cover like Beck, or we cover that Aha
Okay.
song, "Take on Me," and we
Wow,
just
really?
slow it
Wow.
down a little bit and
Yeah,
and get the cello doing the ba da 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 da
that's
da.
cool. Yeah.
It's very cool. So I think we're very eclectic and um, I don't know. You just got to listen to us. I'm like, head on over to Spotify. You could just stream it right now. Just search up the Deborah Solo Trio, and Deborah is spelled Deborah.
ORA, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So for me, when I do a show, I'm constantly thinking about what is the message I want for the show. I'm always thinking about like
Ah.
what do I want my listeners to get, or whether they're like familiar faces or not. I want to give out some kind of message, and I'm just wondering if you could think of it in that way. What message would the Deborah Solo Trio give to an audience? Like I'll give you an example. Like when I do a
Yeah.
show, I write a lot about crime and family trauma and things like that,
Mhm.
and I try to what I always tell audiences is I try to make bad news sound as good as possible, and I try to I try to make I say I try to make you feel good about real bad news, and then
Oh,
I say
I get that from your music. I was just
yeah,
listening to is it Fabula?
fabula, yeah,
I
fabula,
was just listening to that on the
thank
way
you.
here, thinking like, oh my gosh, when did this come out? I missed this because it's 2023,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I just it just came out
Oh,
a couple
it's
of days ago. Yeah,
oh my God, it's
yeah.
beautiful. I'm like, we should
Oh,
be talking
thank you.
about that.
No, not here, but but we'll
Oh,
talk
sure,
about it when we
sure.
hang out. But
Yeah, I love what you're doing.
thank you.
I would say our message is probably a little bit like like this is us kind of feeling like
Hmm.
including the audience too,
Yeah,
like we are on the same page. We like oh God, I think what I'm trying to say is like we're kind of saying like be yourself, like we're going to be us and
right.
you're going to be you.
That's
And
nice.
a lot of our music is very, very raw and emotional and honest. Like we've written about like mental health, we've written and just our place in the world of feeling like not enough or even like our deepest secrets, for example. It's like,
Right.
but we're in this safe place to use those personal details and make them universal, I think,
Sure.
by giving our like we're putting our hearts out there every show. And I
Yeah.
think hopefully in the best way where people seem like they can really just plug into that emotional resonance
Right.
and really have the experience of reflecting on their own lives as they listen, hopefully.
Right.
Like,
So you're creating
yeah.
like a little like acceptance nest, you know?
I hope, I mean, that sounds fabulous if that's what we're doing. I mean, I kind of feel like that's what we're doing in a way. And that's how it feels when I get together with Chadzilla and Carrie and
Yeah. I
we're
love
writing music
Chadzilla.
together.
That's a great name.
Yeah.
Just keep saying that. Okay, so my next question is you seem obviously very well learned in your confidence with all this stuff.
Oh, you're so sweet.
And my curiosity is, are you like me? Is it all facade in the first place? Do you
Oh,
have
wait, I'm sorry. You cut out there just
oh
for a second. Can you
oh
say it again?
I said you seem to exude confidence, and I'm wondering if you're a lot like me and it's all just a big facade.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's absolutely a fake it till you make it aspect
Right.
to being any kind of creator. You
Sure.
know, I mean, I've definitely had my heartbreaks, you know,
Uh-huh.
and getting bad feedback or having someone overlook something that I thought they would appreciate. And I think what makes me feel secure is you know, not only the journey I've been on of like getting to make music with people I really trust and knowing and trusting
Mhm.
their talent and letting that elevate my own and believing that it does. But, you know, going to music school, for example, kind of just enforced this idea that like, oh, that's all great to know. I'm not going to use any of it though.
Right.
I'm just
Right.
gonna be intuitive and be myself. And I think that like something that's helping me in seeming secure is that I am comfortable on stage. I
Nice.
have a long background in theater and performance, and
Right.
I was that kid in class who was like, "Oh, I can't wait until it's my turn to talk." So,
Yeah.
like, I mean,
I
part of
tell
me, yeah.
I tell Rachel the same thing. I say it's like the little inner child of me that's like, look at me, look what I
Right,
can do. You know, it's just
right.
can't help it. I know we're running out of time, and I know you have a class in a few minutes, so
Yeah.
I don't want to take up too much of your time. We might have to do a part two of this because it's been a really fun conversation.
Oh, thank you. This has been awesome.
But I do want to ask you a little bit about before you go. What advice would you give to different artists? Because you've been around the block for a while, and you've been doing your thing and finding your place and
Oh,
finding
yeah.
people. You know, dealing with the imposter syndrome that we all deal with. What kind of what message do you want to give out to somebody that's listening that maybe just wants to be inspired?
Oh yeah, a couple things. Like first of all, you've got to be yourself. Like I think like I've heard you talk on your podcast about like honing like when you get feedback, like it's just a good opportunity to think like is that true for me? Like that's an idea. Can I lean into that and improve myself, or does that idea feel wrong for me? And I
Right.
think you're kind of honing this intuition, like this sense of like what is right for me and what is wrong for me, and don't try to like shut up that voice. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I think so. I guess my advice is more like try to listen to yourself, and yes, try to expand and grow, and you can give yourself writing prompts that are something you never tried before. It's not like you only ever have to do one thing, but try to really be yourself and lean into what makes you different as a singer-songwriter,
Right.
and your personal message. And I would say also, like, your goals don't have to be the same goals as anybody else.
Right.
Like, I
Good
think
advice.
something that's kept me going and made me feel really secure as a parent, a working parent, songwriter, is that I know I'm not going to get a million listens. It's never
Right.
going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
I've accepted this.
Yeah.
So my goal is actually just to write the best music I can possibly write. So
Yes.
that's a pretty
That's
good
great.
goal, because it puts the goal on the experience and not on the outcome. And
Yeah.
then,
That's beautiful.
I think any positive outcome that comes to you is like icing on the cake. But if you can kind of reframe and make your goal like to just be the absolute best creator you can be, then that might help you like get rid of those horrible voices in your head that say
Yeah.
this isn't enough, you haven't done enough, you haven't reached enough people. It's like, well, maybe that comes later, or maybe that's like for me right now. It's just not the right time to be putting huge pressure on myself
Right.
for any other goal than just writing the best music possible,
Yeah.
writing the best fiction possible.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And
I do.
I think that's
Yeah.
how you get there. I think I can see that because you're also a writer. You've written a few
Yeah,
books.
yeah.
And I'm sorry we didn't get to talk too much about that this time, but maybe on the next time. But
Oh, that'd be fun to talk about too. But
I
yeah,
do
it's fine.
wonder.
Don't worry.
I do think though, with being a mother, being a teacher, being a writer, that you sort of really figured out how to unlock like people's inner selves, because you kind of have to analyze a bunch of different inner selves. You got to analyze your students' inner self, your kids' inner self, your characters in your books, And I think I can see how you're just very knowledgeable and you have a very interesting insight in, like, you need to be true to yourself, and this because of all these other things that have put you here and now you're just an artist doing your artist thing. So that's really cool.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice.
Yeah. Do you have anything going on here in June that you want to plug? Do you have any shows or
Yes.
any singles? You have
We
some
know.
singles out.
Yeah, we have some fun music out right now. We are working toward an album that I'm really excited about that will probably be coming out late fall. But we do have a fun summer thing coming up on July 23rd at 7 p.m. We are playing Saul and Debbie's Backyard Concert Series.
Cool.
And this is like an underground thing.
I love that.
Yeah, Saul Rosenthal is a Denver guy. He's a co-owner of the Denver Folklore Center, which is a great place to go buy an instrument if you're looking for any acoustic instrument or getting any work done on your guitar. I definitely recommend them. They've done work on my own instruments, and I just love that place. But Saul and his wife Debbie have a backyard concert series, which they started during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And last year we got rained out. We ended up doing a sing along under the awning. So they invited us back. We're gonna give it another shot.
That's great.
And if you want to know how to come and join us in a really like sort of intimate small group setting in Denver, you can go to my website, which is www.deborahsolo.com, and go to events, and on there it'll show you how to come on over to that concert. And we're going to have 2 other things happening, just a beer garden in July, and at a arts and crafts sort of bazaar in Lowry in August, and that'll be up on the website too if you want to come see us and connect. And if you do come, tell me that you heard this podcast and that you know Angel.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, if you the last thing I want to say is I know you're not always on social media, so that's probably not the best way to get a hold of you, but what is your social media handles so that people can know?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. No, I'm kidding. I'm sort of kidding. So if you go to my website, I definitely have all the like buttons there. So and then
smart. No, that's a smart move. You send them to the website. They teach you that in music school. Always the website. It's
go to the website.
Trending proof. It's trending proof.
Yes, it's true. And I am doing a little more on Insta lately, and I had to work on that for when we got the word out about my single. I was really happy with how that went, and then. For the album, I'll definitely be back on there. Like you said, it's like it's fits and spurts, right? Where it's
because you're being true to yourself. That's the message today. We're being
And
true to
taking time
ourselves.
away when I need to as well. 'Cause,
Yeah, I think it's
yeah.
healthy. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me. I know you gotta get teaching, and if you're like me, you probably enjoy a little prep time before the student walks in. So I want to make sure I give you that, and we should definitely do this again because I got more questions for you, and you're a great talker. You're a good
Oh,
talker.
thank you so much, Angel. I really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to listening to your brand new album some more as well, and chatting with you. We didn't tell listeners, but I'm friends with your wife, and
Yes.
she's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I'll definitely be in touch, and I just
Yeah.
can't thank you enough for having me today.
Yeah, you got to come to Longmont. I'm doing a lot of show stuff here. I would love for you to perform on some stuff.
That is so cool. Yeah, I'd love to come up there, especially if I could bring my kids along.
Oh yeah, totally.
That'd be really
Yeah.
cool.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. You have a good day over there. All right. Thank you,
You
so much.
too. Bye.
Bye.